Sharif Dyer II, a young entrepreneur from Michigan, embodies the spirit of innovation and drive. As the co-founder of Wealth University, Sharif has dedicated himself to empowering others with the knowledge and tools necessary for financial success. In his role as a senior sales development representative at InstaWork, Sharif has proven his prowess, helping hundreds navigate the complexities of the tech industry and amassing a following of over 90,000. Engaging with Sharif's insights offers a unique opportunity to learn from someone who's actively shaping the future of work and financial empowerment. Making this more than just an interview, it's a chance to be a part of a forward-thinking dialogue of innovation and success in the digital age. Sharif, bro, thank you so much, man, for being here. Super excited about this conversation. I know it's gonna help a lot of people. A lot of people know me for helping people get in the tech industry, and it's interesting because I feel like we're both kind of on two sides. There's a lot of people in the community that you've helped get into the tech space. A lot of people that know about you that don't know about me, Facts. And a lot of people that know about me that don't know about you. Facts. So I'm very happy for the Tech is a New Black community to learn about who you are, what you've been doing, so that way we can really just come together, collaborate, and help more people get into the industry and scale in the industry as well.
Bro, I'm excited to be here. I appreciate the invitation, and bro, just love the collaboration. I think that's something that has been missing from the community, and definitely is something that needs to be a focus going forward, is just working together, everybody lifting each other up.
Yeah, bro, big facts. So look, let's get into it. Let's hop into it. All right, so look, so we both actually got into the tech industry at the exact same time, October 2021, which is crazy.
But time flies.
But the fact that we got in the same month, the same year, like literally the same time is wild to me. But anyway, how did you get in the industry as a college dropout? And most importantly, what was the tech applying and interviewing experience like back then versus today?
Yeah, so something you preach to, I've seen, transferable skills. That's what helped me make the transition to landing my first remote sales development representative role. At the time, so 2020 was when I was in college for computer science, actually, 2 years in, and I just dropped out. It didn't make sense. It was just so much going on, and I was feeling like I was almost paying to teach myself because I was at home and I had my real estate license, so I just went all in with real estate. Dropped out completely, sold some houses, and from there, using those transferable skills, I revamped my resume, added numbers, metrics. How many cold calls am I doing on a daily basis? How many deals am I closing? How much am I generating in revenue? Putting all of that into your resume, attaching a cover letter. And I actually found out about tech scrolling on TikTok. Someone said it was an account executive position, remote, paying close to 6 figures. So probably for my first 2 months, I was applying to the wrong position. Okay. I was applying for account executive. I was getting ghosted, not hearing anything back until like one company sent me an email saying like, hey, you might be better qualified for our entry-level sales development representative position. Yeah. And that's all, that little piece of hope was all I needed. Dang. Kept applying. Actually, I kind of got catfished when I landed my first like tech job or remote job. Yeah. It was in, I believe, like July 2021. And it was like a call center job, but I literally had to have an Ethernet cable plugged up to my computer. So it's like, it's work from home. This isn't remote. And it's dials like all day, like incoming call, beep, beep, beep. The little Microsoft Teams that it still gives me like a headache whenever I hear it. Oh yeah, that little way to bloop, bloop, bloop. So I left that, and come probably September is when I started getting some good traction for the SDR roles. Same thing, just mass applying, kind of general cover letter. And from there, just researching the company is what made the biggest difference at that point, because it wasn't as competitive as it is now in tech. I literally researched a couple articles about the CEO, the missions, values, and then I just was confident during the interview. I practiced the questions, made sure I had questions to ask, made sure I asked about the next steps, and just followed up. And from there, I got an offer at a startup, stayed there for about a year and a half, and eventually got promoted to account executive. So things worked out.
Bro, that's so crazy. Like, a few things. One of the things that I think about is the first piece. Let's kind of go in order. So the first piece I was thinking about is how, you know, you were in real estate. You know, shouts out to all the realtors And real estate obviously is a good space to get in, depending on the market, which that's the case for almost every industry. Nevertheless, I know that so many just people in general, but a lot of our community were sold that real estate is the way to wealth. It's like obviously real estate investing is fire, but being like a realtor or real estate agent, whatever, is very few of them are even making six figures or even touching anything close to six figures. And so a lot of my friends that are in real estate, I'm like, hey, bro, y'all should really look into tech sales because you are 100%. A salesperson, but you can make much more money. And so I think it's cool that you made that transition. The other component to it is hearing how did you learn how to put down all of those different metrics on your resume? Like, where did you even get that from?
Yeah, so I would say just past experiences. Like I just got it from, because when I was 18, when I first started applying, I was making a custom cover letter for every job I applied to. Yeah. And then I would see, I'm getting an automated message saying that they declined me. If you're not even going to spend the time to look at the custom cover letter, look at whatever I put on my resume, now I had to learn, this is being optimized by an applicant tracking system. Yep. Now they're using AI, but it was pretty much just seeing what didn't work and then making little incremental changes, adjustments to really figure out what worked. And then also, like when I was interviewing, the questions they're asking, they're throwing questions. Hey, what are your KPIs? What are your metrics? I had to then learn, okay, they're looking for the numbers. They're looking for how I perform. Yeah. What is quota? These are the things that, even though I wasn't really performing on a quota in real estate, because you're your own business owner, you can still word things in a way that will make it super transferable and super relevant to the job you're applying to.
That's fire. So you weren't just interviewing just to get the job. You also were actually listening to the feedback and the questions that you didn't have answers to. Yes. You were like, let me do some research to learn what this is. So next time I get in the ring of an interview, I have a response to this. Maybe I have this on my resume. We're gonna get to some really cool interview stuff later on. So definitely y'all keep listening in. But what would you say? Because you mentioned that it wasn't until I think you said July, or it was some earlier time when you started getting some type of traction, but you didn't start at a company until October. Right. How long did it take you to actually get your job in tech from when you first started to where you actually landed as an SDR? And really, what kept you motivated during that time when at that time there was not a whole lot of get in tech content?
Right. Yeah. So there's different ways to look at it. I would say overall, just to make the entire transition, maybe 4 months, but you got to think 3 of those months I was applying to the wrong position. Yeah. So once I actually figured out the position, it was literally, I would say 30 days from the time I started interviewing, applying with that company to they sent me a MacBook Pro, monitor, Apple mouse, keyboard, all that, 30 days.
Yeah. So, and you touched on this a little bit, but just kind of in a snapshot, how would you address the difference between getting a job in tech now, the applying, interviewing process versus back then? Like you mentioned that it is a more competitive market now, but what else would you say is different about it right now?
What's different? So I'll start with 2 things that you need now for sure that you didn't need in the past is 1, initiative, and then intention. Okay. As long as you're finding the opportunity and taking that action before anyone else and applying to those jobs, reaching out to the recruiter now. What I would do also now is record all my interviews. So that's something maybe we dive a little bit deeper into later. Yeah. But looking at it as if you're an athlete, reviewing your interview like an athlete would review their film. What did you do good? What did you do bad? How can you send a really good follow-up email, talk about something you and the recruiter talked about in the interview, and then just build that relationship? Because a lot of people don't know that a recruiter will be your best friend during the interview process. So just utilizing the people who are at that company, whether you're reaching out on LinkedIn to other account executives, if you're trying to be on the sales team, ask them what their interview process was like. What is the team looking for? So I would just say you have to be, have more intention about the way that you're applying to these jobs, be more personalized, and just be a little bit more strategic. So that could be sending an automated email campaign with a software like Apollo. I would just say you have to stand out more, a lot more now, because there's more people trying to get that remote job that everyone wants.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes a lot of sense. Because you've helped a lot of people land roles in tech. Do you sometimes ever get any pushback where someone's like, man, does it really take all of this just to get a 6-figure job? Or does it really take all of this to get a job in tech? Like, whenever you get messages like that or responses like that, I guess, what is your thought process or response back to someone that asks a question of like, yo, I want this 6-figure tech career, but I kind of don't want to have to do that much work? Like, what is your thought process or response to that?
I mean, you have to choose your hard. Like, it's same people want a 6-pack, but they don't want to go to the gym every day. They don't want to do the work. So either you're going to stay in the position you're at, or you're going to make a couple sacrifices now to have location freedom. You don't have to, if you don't want to spend an hour a day driving to work in traffic, another hour, especially for the females, they have to spend a couple hours in the morning to get ready.
Yeah.
And then you're driving in traffic coming back. You're losing maybe 3 hours every single day.
Yeah.
If you just put in an extra hour a day, do some more applications, whether it's easy apply, whether it's applying on their site, reaching out to a recruiter, it's going to be worth it in the end, for sure.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. Let us know, like, what do y'all think about this? Do y'all believe, because I know a lot of y'all are in tech, some of y'all aren't in tech yet, but whether you're in tech or about to be in tech, do you believe a 6-figure career is worth all of this work? You know, so, you know, Sharif and I aren't necessarily right. This is our perspective. And so we want to hear from your perspectives as well. Now, so you mentioned this a minute ago, but you've been recording and posting your live interviews on your page, which is actually crazy. So first off, we want to know, are those interviews real? Like, are they real interviews?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. And what are some of the scenarios that you've posted that have impacted people the most?
Yeah, for sure. And then one caveat with the interviews is like, I'm still interviewing. I'm always interviewing. So the interviews that are posted aren't going to be the companies that I'm actually like in talks with right now. But I've done, I don't even know how many interviews, a lot, but like literally a bunch of the ones I have posted, some of the ones that have gone viral over the last couple months, those probably were from early January, like this year, like maybe December last year. Yeah. But I've got some more now that like I'm recording and they'll be out soon too.
Bro, it's so crazy that you do that. Like I love that you do that. That's so original. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So I would say one interview that impacted people the most, I think, is at like 4 million views right now. Sheesh. It was talking about salary. And those are the ones that people always love. Like, how to negotiate salary, but also how to kind of play that game where you're not saying a number first, but you're letting the recruiter say a number first. So something I learned is just ask, hey, what is the budget you guys have set aside? If they ask what you were paid in your previous role, you can let them know, hey, I signed an NDA. I can't say anything. You can just let them know, like, that's actually why I'm looking for a new job. I feel like I was underpaid for the value and the things I presented. Yeah. That being said, just tell me a little bit more about the range that you guys had set aside. Yeah. So I would say those for sure, because it's so weird. We're never taught in high school, in college, how to make a resume, how to interview, how to negotiate salary. What are the other things outside of salary benefits that you can negotiate? So you can get free equipment, you can get your phone bill paid for, your Wi-Fi paid for, you can get your gym membership paid for, but it's never told. Yeah.
If you're looking to break into tech, scale in your tech career, or get networking, collaboration, resources, and more, I have something huge for you. Tech is the New Black is the largest tech career platform in the world. We've helped over 1,000 people break into 6-figure tech careers and even more scale. But now we're taking it even further with our Techpreneur Discord community. This community offers high-level networking and collaboration with tech leaders, tech recruiters, and more through events, private streams, and daily group conversations. And if you're looking to break into tech, we don't just have all of the trainings and resources that you need, but we actually have partnerships with different companies that are hiring from within our community. So no matter your goal and your career, income, or business, the Techpreneur community was made for you. So text us at 404-519-2851 or just hit the link in the description to join.
Man, you know, one thing I've made a mistake multiple times when not sharing with the community is that I made a habit out of people messaging me their offer letter and them saying, wow, I got an offer letter. I would look at it and I personally would think like, that's a little lower than I would, that I would encourage you to take. But
Right.
instead of me responding that way, my response would just be, hey man, congratulations, good. You got a $60,000, tech sales job. Even though in my head, I'm like, okay, you probably could have gotten it for 70 or 75K. And one of the things that I've been working on recently since then is letting people know, hey, when they send you the offer letter, that isn't like, it's not like that's it. You can respond back and say, hey, I love this. I appreciate the offer letter. A couple changes that I would ask. Can we make an adjustment here? Can we offer this? What about this area over here? And then explain why. Explain like, okay, well, and this is why, because I believe I bring this thing and I believe this
100%.
over here will benefit in this type of way. What are some things that you either used to teach or didn't teach that you look back and you're like, okay, I wish I was teaching that then, but I'm teaching it now?
Yeah, it just would be recording the interviews. That's the biggest thing, because I see the most like return on investment just for knowing what you talked about, taking that to the next person you talk about. And then as well, I would say biggest advice that I wasn't teaching when it comes to just the offer letters is, like you said, one, you can negotiate. That's what real estate helped me with, is like that first offer doesn't have to be the final agreement. Yeah. So one, continue interviewing with the other companies, but also use the other companies that you're interviewing with and the offers you have as leverage to then maybe take it to another company that has better benefits or has just a better solution, a better product that maybe you resonate more with. So I would just say, like, don't give up after you get the first offer. And maybe, I won't say don't accept the first offer, because some people are in a bind. Sometimes they need that. But just don't stop interviewing after you accept that offer. Because there's so many other opportunities that you may not even be aware of because you just took the first money that someone told you.
Yeah. Y'all, he's doing such a fire job. I got to give him his flowers real quick. He's doing such a fire job answering these questions because, of course, I gave him the questions ahead of time, but I would say 2/3 of the questions I'm asking him right now are questions that are literally coming up on the spot. And so low key, a lot of the questions are a bit of curveballs, not intentionally, just like organic conversation. He's doing such a fire job answering these questions. So, all right, now, when people tell us that they can't get a job in tech, when people are like, man, I can't get a job, nobody's hiring, or they'll say that they can't get a job based on their skin color or because of their gender or whatever that might be. We know personally that it's not that no one's hiring, because we, weekly, sometimes daily, we're hearing people say, oh, I got a job in tech. Thank you. So people are hiring. And we also know it's not because of skin color or gender or any of these things. Those things definitely play a role, but they are not the end all be all thing.
Right.
We know that sometimes people will look at the symptoms and then they will justify a cause. Right. But usually we can tell based on where someone's failing at in the interview process what issue is actually happening. And so what are some of the causes that people don't land interviews versus the causes of people who get interviews but are not able to get to the final rounds versus the causes of those who get to the last rounds but can never land the job?
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'll break it down in a couple different pieces. The first thing you said is people are saying just companies aren't hiring. Yeah. That's always false. Even when in early 22, when there were these banks crashing, tech layoffs were going everywhere. Yeah. You could go on LinkedIn and you could see Salesforce laying off a bunch of people, and there's 200 job openings, if not more. And if you go on LinkedIn, there's filters where you can go jobs added in the past 24 hours. There's hundreds of jobs added every single day just on LinkedIn alone. Yeah. Now there's hundreds of sites to where you can apply. There's also millions of people where you can talk to, you can network, and maybe they have a role that's open internally. Yeah. But people just aren't doing enough. If you're just going to apply to 25 jobs and then be sad that you got a 25 declines, you're not going to get anywhere. I know people who apply to 75, 80 jobs a day and were hired within 2.5 weeks. It's just exposing yourself. These companies need people, and you have the skills, but they don't know that you're looking for a new opportunity. Yeah. So that's all it is just a numbers game. Now, to the second part of the question of like, what's the difference from people who maybe have landed a couple interviews and just haven't got that offer versus people who haven't like gotten any interviews? Yeah. I guarantee it's the resume. I've seen so many resumes where they're not telling a story. A story is going to compel someone to just dig a little bit deeper and want to jump on a quick call with you. So the way I look at the resume is I always start with the professional summary, which is just going to highlight, one, how many years of professional experience do you have? Then you could break down how many years of relevant experience to whatever this like industry or vertical that company is. And then from there, like, what are your wins? What are your biggest accomplishments? What's going to make me want to keep reading through this book?
Yeah.
Now from there, you can kind of itemize each role, but I always have a cover letter attached, which just dives into detail and really puts some extra pieces in that story. And then also, again, for that AI, that ATS system is going to catch that attention, pitch you in the top 10% because you've got a lot of keywords. But if you're just throwing a couple positions on, a couple details, you're not going to get a call back. And then, like, don't give up just because they declined you. The company I'm working at now, I interviewed with them twice. I started in January interviewing with them, and literally because I recorded my interviews, the second time around when I did the mock pitch, I knew exactly what to say. I knew how to pitch their solution. I knew what they were looking for when it came to lead generation, when it came to closing. So just doing your research, but also making sure that first impression you give on your resume is the best impression that you possibly can give. That's the main difference from people who are just sending a couple applications, a BS resume, and also like they kind of have a lack mindset because they're just getting the job for the money. But if you tell an employer that, they're not going to want to bring you on the team at all. So you have to find other reasons why you're working there outside of the money. What is it about the company's product? What is it about their culture? What is it about just you that drew you to them? So when you can bring all of that together and convey that in a concise way to the recruiter, you're going to the next round. Simple.
Yo, that's some good game. Look, let us know in the comments. First off, if y'all loved what he said, definitely, give a like, all that good stuff. So that way this could be shared with more people can get this education. But let us know in the comments. I want to hear from two different groups. We want to hear from the group where you yourself, you're either stuck in the rut of not landing a lot of interviews, or you're the type of person where you're landing interviews, but for some reason you can't seem to get to that final round or can't get that offer. We want to hear from that group. But also what we would love for those of y'all that are in tech that have some experience is, hey, if you go through the comments and you see people that are posting their scenario, if you can drop some advice for them. Let's really truly be a community in the comments, support one another. So thank you so much for that, bro. You gave some good nuggets with that. All right, man. You actually kind of addressed the. We'll still go into to see if there's a little bit deeper that we can get to with this. Sweet. All right. So, what is a tip for the person who can't land interviews? You mentioned the resume, and also says a tip for someone who gets interviews but cannot get to the final rounds or land a job. What's some other advice that you can give? Because I know I've seen you drop so many nuggets and gems. Like I was looking at your LinkedIn. And your About Me section on your LinkedIn is literally what I tell people to have. I'm like, yo, tell a story, make it interesting, use some emoji, show some personality, because at the end of the day, these recruiters are looking at these things and it's like they don't want to see the same standard About Me section that says I'm a driven whatever
the ChatGPT about section,
where it's just really dry and boring. And so even when we talk about LinkedIn, what are some pointers that you can give when it comes to that?
Yeah, so for LinkedIn, a couple pointers that I'll give is one, changing your profile to creator mode, definitely having a professional headshot. There's free AIs that you can use now where you don't even have to have a haircut. You don't have to show up anywhere. You don't have to have a photographer. The AI, you upload a couple photos, in 60 seconds, you have a professional headshot. Now, professional headshot, you can use Canva for free to make like your banner on LinkedIn. And then again, with the creator mode, have a couple different hashtags and just start networking. For any of your past positions you've been at, reach out to someone. Hey, can we swap recommendations? Add that to your profile. And then, same thing.
I never thought about swapping recommendations.
Nobody does it, but it's an easy way. Like, hey, I got you, you got me. Let's work together. Now you've got a bunch of recommendations on your profile. You've got a bunch of references. And outside of that, you already touched on the About section. Just being active on LinkedIn too. Most people don't understand there's more sections than just the jobs tab. Like it's a social media network, but this is where the recruiters are. This is where your next colleagues may be. So if you can post on there, I mean, some of the posts, you got to be a little cringy sometimes on LinkedIn, but as long as you're posting on there, as long as you're active, you're going to start getting attention on LinkedIn, and you only need one person to say yes for you to get that right offer you're looking for.
Yeah, the general culture of LinkedIn definitely is middle-aged, soccer dad, type of culture. It's corny. I think the thing that's dope about it, though, is that whenever I see people bring a little bit of flavor to LinkedIn, still professional, but when they bring like a little bit of flavor, their content does so good.
It's insane.
It does so good.
Because nobody else is really like optimizing or innovating on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
As long as you try a little bit, the content goes off.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Sometimes, I'm going to be real, I personally sometimes get frustrated when I see people, people that I know personally that are trying to get in tech, or they say they're trying to get in tech, they do some work, but then like months later, they're not in tech, and then I'm seeing them constantly posting random pictures and random videos on Instagram. They're hanging out, they're just on Instagram heavy. And then I look at their LinkedIn is dry. They're posting nothing. But then they tell me, oh man, I can't get no job in tech. I'm like, man, you're not even bro, you're literally chilling. I'm literally watching you just chilling on Instagram. That's doing nothing for you
at all.
And it's like, you could just, if you want the dopamine hit, just post stuff on LinkedIn. And now you can like get that dopamine high of being on social media, but now it actually has a benefit behind it, other than you just kikiing and posting
what you're doing on Friday night.
For everyone interested in taking advantage of what's being discussed, you already know that we have the resources to help you. All you need to do is text us at 404-519-2851, or just click the link in the description or on the video, and the Tech is the New Black team will assist you with this or anything else.
What are some things that you've seen people do where you're like, just some bad habits that you've seen from people that you're like, okay, man, this is a bad habit that I see with people trying to get in tech, like even like people posting negative things on LinkedIn, like, nobody's hiring me, or nobody wants to hire me because of this, or even people saying like, hey, can somebody please hire me? Like, what are some things that you've seen, whether on LinkedIn or just in general, that are some bad habits that you want to kind of tell people, hey, look, y'all, we got to stop this?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to like the scarcity mindset compared to an abundance mindset. If you're projecting on LinkedIn, no one's hiring, or if you're projecting on LinkedIn how desperate you are and how bad you need a job, you're not going to in goodwill bring an abundance of new opportunities because you're just trying to pull, take. But when you're instead pitting energy out and you're like, hey, maybe I didn't get this one, but can you give me some feedback? What can I do better for my next interview? Just having that positive mindset, that positive outlook is something that I feel like a lot more people need, because the only way to lose is if you give up. If you stop trying, if you just continue applying, maybe you don't break in 30 days, maybe it takes you a year. But you still reached your end goal, and then you're also benefiting on like that journey of every single day. You're getting better, you're learning, and I guarantee you probably won't think it, and I've done it myself, but all those little skills and little obstacles and challenges that you're going through and getting over during the process when it's hard and it sucks and you don't have a job will all come back in your favor. Once you have that job, then now, oh, boom, I've got the job. I know how to do this in my free time. This is going to bring me in some more money, or I'm networking with this person, or I learned this, or I read this, or this feedback was given to me and it helped me close a sale or close a deal. So it's really just in trying to enjoy the journey as much as possible. Sometimes I look at it as like a game. Life is a game, and you're just going through playing little mini games, but you don't get to choose which game you're playing right now. You just got to try and enjoy it, learn, and then go to the next one. So just having like a positive outlook, don't give up, and don't have like a negative mindset. Like, it's not going to happen, because then you're kind of willing it to not happen.
Yeah, exactly. All right, bro. So look, we got to get to this part of the conversation. There's a part of the conversation that it's probably a lot of people that are listening and watching are like, yo, I only clicked on the video or only started listening to get the information when it comes to InstaWork. So InstaWork is a platform that connects local businesses with skilled hourly workers. How does InstaWork do this, and how serious of an opportunity is this for people to be able to get paired with jobs?
Yeah, so it's a really, really serious opportunity, because as a company, they just got funded like $60 million. They're growing insanely fast. And right now they're kind of in the early stages of when they're connecting different positions. Maybe if you have like general labor, warehouse, front of house, cook, line chef, those are a lot of the positions they fill now.
Yeah.
But you have to think it's modernizing labor.
Yeah.
So if you get on a platform like that, and if you're an early adopter, they now have like brand ambassador positions where some companies will come looking for it. Maybe they have an event, they need setup, takedown, they need someone to sell their merch or someone to actually be a face of their brand. Maybe if you do a shift like that, you get paid same day sometimes, and then you meet the founder of that company, you can then also break in tech from that way. So I think it's just a good opportunity. One, if you have some like general labor skills and you're looking to just make some quick money, or two, like if you're actually looking to join the company and help grow the company, they're hiring for a plethora of sales, software, like positions. So I think it's a big opportunity.
But that's huge because, I mean, of course, y'all know we were talking about tech, we talk about tech careers, tech business, all of that good stuff. But at the end of the day, the basic goal is to make sure people are good.
Yeah.
And for some of y'all that are working to get in tech, you know, some of y'all don't have a job at all, or you need something additional on the side. I mean, I've seen some people, I don't know why people do this. I've had people DM me and say, Cyrus, I just quit my job because I just started this boot camp. I'm like, why would you do that? Like, why did you quit your job just because you started a boot camp? But anyway, I've seen people where they don't have anything at all. And, you know, I've recommended to people, hey, maybe you should start, you know, Uber driving or Lyft driving like I did. But, you know, some people are women and they're like, you know, I feel uncomfortable doing something like that, or I feel uncomfortable door dashing, which is understandable. And so what I love about what InstaWork is doing is that it provides an opportunity for people to have a variety of different options based on their skill sets to be able to have income coming in as they're working towards getting in tech and whatever else their goals are. So I really think that's really phenomenal.
Another platform too that I want to mention is called Glen Coco,
Glen Coco?
Yeah, Glen Coco. And it's like Uber, DoorDash, but for software sales. Okay. So they've got probably 30, 40 companies where you can anytime pick up the phone.
I think you told me about this one. Yeah.
Anytime, bro. Literally, they'll pay hundreds, if not thousands. All you have to do is set the qualified meeting with the decision maker. They don't even have to buy anything. They just have to show up and be there. So in November, I had one of my students that was in my community spent maybe 30 hours. She set 30 qualified meetings and made $6.5 thousand. And in that time, she got an offer in tech. Like, it's just insane.
That's crazy.
What I tell people, if you're doing something like that, then you can add that as relevant experience to your resume. Yes. So when you get to the end of the interview and someone's telling you that they're looking for someone who has more fintech experience, I called on this campaign, I set this meeting.
Yes.
That's why I feel qualified. So even just asking those questions though, like, hey, what are the next steps? I'd love to move forward with your company. If they don't pitch you that next interview on the calendar, just ask them, is there anything holding you back for moving forward with me? Then you have the opportunity to kind of handle those objections.
Yo, that's so crazy. I'm going to keep it a stack. I actually, when I brought up InstaWork, when I was looking at your LinkedIn, looking at information on what we're going to talk about, when I listed InstaWork, I actually was thinking of Glen Coco because I remember when you, is it Glen Coco or Glen Co?
Glen Coco, I think.
Okay, cool. I was like, don't let me add an extra Coco on there. Yeah, I remember we talked about it before a few months ago. You had told me about it, and that stuck in my head to where when we were doing this interview, I was like, yo, we have to talk about this. Right. But instead of asking you, hey, what was the name of the company? I was like, I'm not going to be lazy. I'm going to look at your LinkedIn, and then I saw InstaWork, and my mind thought that was the same thing, which is still a dope opportunity.
They both are,
but I was thinking of Glen Coco. So look, y'all, check the show notes for information on InstaWork, what they're doing, information on Glen Coco, because, man, this is just fire, bro.
Bro, I think any platforms that are like arbitrage where you can just pick up, make money, like that's the future. That's where we see all the money going into, when it was going into DoorDash, Uber, Lyft. I think this is the next wave of like just re-pioneering how we work, how we connect other people with businesses, how businesses use skilled professionals. I think it's right now it's changing. Big facts, bro. Big facts. Hey, let us know if y'all are planning on checking out these companies, because that stuff sounds dope. I love it. All right, let's get to some cool stuff. All right, bro. So you are getting married next month. Yes. But I saw that you proposed to her. This was crazy to me. You proposed to her the month after you broke into tech. I love that.
how does making more money in tech make you feel better as a provider, if it does or doesn't? And how has it impacted y'all's relationship in any kind of way?
Yeah. So I think all men, I won't say all men, but most men have that, like, it's something inside you where you want to be that provider, where you want to be the person who's going to protect. And a lot of people now, like, we don't really have like the masculine and feminine polarity in our society where people understand, like, if you can be the kind of rock, the person for your girl, it's gonna be able to help her flourish. So like sometimes I'll make fun of her, like when we go out, I'm like, oh, she turns her brain off. Like, you turn your brain off, like, it might not bring her wallet or bring this or forget this, but she knows that I got it. So it's just like she can be more free, more flowing, and then it brings me peace, it brings me happiness, because it just works together. So I definitely think that once you find the right one, and we've been together now for probably 5 years. So literally she was with me when I got my first car and I didn't have a radio to where I'm at now. So definitely, like, if you find the right one, when you find the right one, don't take it for granted, because we're made to be together. A good partnership is how you have a good foundation. I don't know how a lot of these guys, or even these girls, if you're just out dating around, you're just wasting all your time. Obviously, then it's going to be hard to get to where you want to go. It's going to be hard to get that tech job because you're not fully immersing yourself in your one goal. Man, you're spending all your time. For me, I got friends, it's like a full-time job. They got a whole roster. Like a coach doesn't have time to do nothing else. You maintaining each one of your players. You spending time with each one of your players.
Sheesh. That's crazy.
I can't do it.
Man, that makes so much sense. I mean, even when we think about, because I know how the comments are going to be, but luckily most of our community are people that have their heads on straight. But it's like, there are men that are successful that are playboys, and there are men that are successful that just have one woman or have a wife. But across the board, we see that the men that are the most successful are the ones that are like locked in with one woman. Facts. And so I don't think that's a coincidence. Like, when we see the numbers and we see the averages, we see that across the board. What do you think about, so what would you say to, we're going to talk to men and women here. First, speaking to the women who they hear, okay, dang, like, she was with you before you had a car and before you really had much of anything together, let alone before you were making 6 figures and all of that, and on the way to 7 figures. And a lot of them today we see online, a lot of them say, oh, I don't want to be a girl that's like a rider for a guy who's not successful. I just want to be with a guy who's successful. Because some of them, understandably, some of them are fearful that they will be in a guy's corner and that once he becomes successful, he's going to drop them. And so they're fearful of that. They don't want to help build the guy up or be in his corner, and then he leaves them once they become successful, or that they be in his corner and he never becomes successful. That's the other thing they're worried about.
That's facts.
But on the flip side, there are guys who they want to become successful, and then they get successful, and then now they're weary of either whatever new women they meet because they're like, yo, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym type of thing, or they do end up leaving a woman that was with them before because now they're thinking, okay, I need to upgrade, because I can get better options now. So what would you say to just the women and the men in those scenarios, given your position? I mean, you're young, successful, you technically have like the world at your fingertips in terms of what all you can have, but you're like, no, I want to love this woman who was there with me and I want to build with her.
Right. Yeah. What I would say is, for me, at least, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're just spreading your energy all between different men, different women, it's kind of going to be the same thing in your work life, in your fitness life, compared to when you're looking at life as like long-term investments and building like a sustainable life. You want to obviously invest in a certain set of people, invest in one partner that you can almost get a return on the energy that you're putting in. If you're just out at the club and you find somebody and then you go home, do whatever, you never talk to them again, all that energy you spent is gone.
Sheesh.
But if you actually are building up with someone and definitely spend the time, like figure out what your values are, what your goals are, and then find someone who empowers you to do that and gives you the freedom, but also will hold you accountable. If you're slacking, if you're not doing what you want to do, find someone who's going to push you to continue getting better, because then all that energy you're putting into them, as you guys both get better, you're just going to keep bouncing the energy back and forth. Maybe it'll be times where I'm having a bad day, business is crazy, but my girl, she'll come comfort me, tell me everything's going to be okay. And then it'll be the other time, some days she's having a bad day. I'm like, hey, what do you want to do? I got it. Let's go out. Let's do this. So you don't get that if you're not continually building something with another person.
Man.
So that's how I look at it.
Bro, that's so real. You kind of touched on this, kind of bringing it back to tech. You kind of touched on this, but I still asked this question that popped up in my head. How did your relationship play a role in you getting in tech? And how has it still been serving everything you've been doing within both your actual tech career and your business?
Yeah. Well, one, it's a big motivator. If you have other people you have to take care of, like you can't be playing around. You can't just spend the day chilling, smoking every single day. Like you have bills, you have people that rely on you. So one, it just keeps you disciplined. It also is a really good motivator. And then as well, like once I did break into tech, then we could just have more fun. Then we can do more things. We can go more places, spend more time together. Like life just gets better. So